good morning. Healthy mind. I'm like, what classroom am I even in? Healthy mind, body, spirit classroom. Hello. Thank you for joining me. You're like, too much energy. Too much energy. Yeah, maybe so. I've been up since 5:30. Maybe so. So we are here in our brand new Healthy Mind, Body, Spirit classroom, which is a spin-off and a compilation of our critical thinking, our spiritual, and our philosophical classrooms. And you've made it to the chalkboard. And what I mean by that is I remembered to change the chalkboard before we got on, and there we are on day 80. Can you believe it? I know we took a month off and we're still on day 80. How exciting. How exciting. Well, you know what we're doing here, right? We are doing Dear Highlights. I have enjoyed this. I said what I said I was going to do is I was going to have today be our last. Woo! I don't know what that was. No, that was I was feeling warm, and then I was like, yeah, not that warm. It's still a little cool out there. That's what that was. That was like Noah putting the dove out, testing, the for land. Here, me testing for cold air. Get it? Do you get it? So what I said was that I was going to do is I was going to go over the family questions and then decide which ones I want to do, and then wrap up family section today. Do each section, one per week, right? Because we know if you've been, sort of paying attention since we've been back, since October 3rd and we've been back, we as in me. So here are the contents. Family, school, friendship, feelings and confidence, self-improvement, hopes and dreams, societal concerns and events, biases and exclusion. I love that. We talked about ostracism in one of my older classes there, and probably we talked about it maybe in the critical thinking classroom. I think we did. I'm thinking about Bloom's taxonomy and where I wanted that as well. There's that wink again. There's that wink again. COVID-19, about really hard things and what we've learned. So I'm going to do, a week of those topics. So we're going to be here in HMBS for a little while. But this is about what adults can learn. And yesterday's question about mom's on the phone all the time and all I want to do is spend time with her. Oh, I did not just start weeping. But that's because, you know why? Because first of all, it doesn't really necessarily help you much, but also because it's not, I'm almost a little bit desensitized to that comment because I see it all the time. It's no surprise that a child sees his mom on the phone all the time. The thing that was like gets you a little bit choked up is his ability to express his desire so clearly. All I want to do is spend time with her. Woo! Right? So I did not read ahead to pick out ones for the family. We are on the topic of family right now. I did not read ahead like I said I was going to do. I fell asleep at like 10, 15, maybe. It was before 10:30. That I know. So what I'm going to do first off is the next topic is school. I'm going to see how many letters I have between, which are a lot. So what I'm going to do, I think, is the next one is from Amber, Katie, and Sierra. So 3 letters on the spread of 2 pages. So I'm going to see if they're related to one another or not, right? But I'm going to go ahead and go right to the next one. Instead of picking the ones that I like best, I'm going to go right to this, but I'm going to do all 3 of them. But before I do that, I'm going to just because I enjoyed it and because I don't know yet if later letters are different than earlier letters, right? So that those had the Dear Highlights book has earlier letters in it. I've got some that we've read since from 2020. Okay, so we read I Don't Know What to Write in My Diary. If you want to stop and you could take a look at that if you didn't see yesterday's, those were the suggestions which I said they were great. And then the other one, did I close it up? I think I did. Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll come up with it like right here. Nope. Let me get my glasses. So we're going to do one here. And then we're going to go to the Dear Highlights book that I am enjoying immensely. And we read, what I do here is I read the question, I read their answer, try not to interrupt with my opinion because at first it may not seem like it's the best answer, but to me, but then as I read it becomes very good. Sometimes it does, especially from the magazine one. The magazine one had much better answers, I think, so far than the book one did. But, you know, I'm being too hard on the book because I actually did have a really good answer yesterday, I think. So this one is from Highlights, November 2020. Remember this magazine, you could find these, I'm sure, at your library, right? You could get a subscription to online for this. I don't think it's as great online as it is here, where I could see these great pictures, and I just love the layout. Look at this. I mean, come on. Shifted pictures. I don't know what you're doing here, but it's a bonus. About you. Look at that. It's so colorful. It's just like, that's what when I was giving my speech about ADHD, right? And about Rummy. This magazine is made for people who have ADHD, and then it really just, to me, just shines a spotlight on it, because if you decide then to take off on any one of these, do a deep dive on any one of these, you have learned a lot more. I did a deep dive, which we're going to talk about today in our class, in our classroom engagement, on a suggestion they made here from our Bookless classroom, from our Reconstruction book that we're reading in Bookless classroom. So having your ideas scattered can actually be, because each one of your ideas is a little magnet. Now think about that. If each one of your ideas is a little magnet, and it is, by the way, and it is, I'm almost sure it's literal as well, then, and you have all these ideas scattered all over, and each one of them is a little magnet, look at what you do. As you walk through life, you go, whoop, 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 with what you see, and then as you're thinking, and then all of those things, all of those ideas in your brain there, that were all over the place, that were little magnets, now begin to touch one another, associate, and you have big ideas. Oh, don't let anyone give you drugs for your ADHD. You know what that's called? You know what it's called? The ADHD, I mean, being a kid. Don't let anybody give you drugs and talk you down from your ADHD. You could calm the body down a little bit, though. Can I say that? I need my glasses. That's the beautiful sound of rain. Things to enjoy. The beautiful sound of rain. Really? Did you ever think about it that way? I've always thought about it that way, but some people, maybe they never thought about it that way, that the sound of rain is so pretty. Most people probably have, though, right? That's the reason why we have YouTube videos with just the sound of rain to go to sleep, but it's fake. I don't like it. What's with the thunder? It's not right. It's just not real. And sometimes that rain is just, and no thunder. I mean, it's just, I don't know. doesn't sound real to me. That's all I'm saying. I actually thought about recording a real rainstorm here in Michigan and then putting it on YouTube because I just think that the sounds of rain on YouTube are so inadequate. Things to think about, fellow ADHD people. Here's another thing. Dream big. Dream big. My fellow ADHD compadres. I don't think I did that right. Dear highlights. My dad lost his job. We have money, but I don't know if we have enough to last. B, New Jersey. Okay, this is from B, letter B, the letter B, New Jersey. Here, let's get you involved in this. It's never easy when a parent loses a job, but your parents would not want you to worry. Tell them how you're feeling. Although they may not have all the answers right now, they may be able to relieve some of your concerns. It might also help for you and your family members to give one another a little extra space. During times of change, it's natural for people to feel sad, irritable, or upset more often than usual. Remember to be kind to yourself and to one another as your family decides how to move forward. Your family will get through this. Many times, difficulty brings families closer together. I like this advice. Thank you, dear highlights. This is really good. Okay, done. No, of course, you know I have something to say. Hello, no. So first of all, all of the highlights seem to start with the first same suggestion. Talk about it. Now, I think that there are times where that advice is just thrown out there too often. But that being said, it should always be the first piece of advice. So it's never thrown out there too often because it should always be the first piece of advice. Have you talked about that? Now, yesterday we read about the person, the boy or girl, who all they wanted to do was spend time with their mother. It was clear that that child is sad. I've talked about it with her. I've told her. So saying talk about it is necessary because it's always the first thing that you need to do. However, in that case, you have to also be aware and respond to the fact that that child had talked to their mom, and then also see it from that perspective. Here, tell them how you're feeling about a lost job. See, we can very clearly see how each circumstance can be different for a different lesson to learn. I know that my mom and dad never talked to us about finances and never believed it was any of our concern, meaning that we would never be concerned. Our parents are there to provide, and I don't think that my parents would have ever turned to us to say, are you worried about us providing for you? It would have never occurred to my parents to ever have a conversation about being concerned that we would provide for you. So here in this case, tell them how you're feeling is very, very good advice. And I think it's very good advice because I'm pretty sure most parents would never know that their kids are concerned about being provided for. I never concerned myself with it. I never did. I remember one time my dad and mom were waiting for a check to go Christmas shopping. And it came in like 2 days before Christmas. And I think those SOBs did that on purpose. I'm just saying. And I remember my mom, like, we're waiting for a check. And we're like, we have to go Christmas shopping. We haven't bought you guys anything, yada, yada. We're waiting for a check. But I wasn't worried. I heard the words, but I wasn't worried. maybe I should have been. And maybe today's kids are more worried. My dad wasn't without a job, he was without a paycheck. No surprise there, right? With the way things are run and being run. Go back to our Bookless classroom. We talk a little bit about it. But from my experience, so I didn't worry about it. I knew we were going to go Christmas shopping. I knew that wasn't not going to happen. I don't know why I knew it. I just knew it. That could have not happened though, right? That could have very easily not happened. It doesn't happen for some people. It doesn't happen for probably a lot of people, right? So I would say that's great advice. They probably do not know that you're concerned, at least from my perspective. I don't think that your parents would know that you're concerned. They would know as well, though, whether you had anything to be concerned about or not. I mean, right? Because they know if they've got money in the bank or not. So you could be running around not, and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, seriously? You're worried about that? No, don't even, right?" Or they may have, one foot on the banana peel and the other one out the door in homelessness land, homeless land. So I don't know, but it's worth checking out. It's worth asking and checking out. The next piece of advice, give one another a little extra space. That both of those combined actually give you like even a bigger punch. And that wouldn't be a punch. That'd be a ridiculous punch, wouldn't it? A bigger punch. Both of those together give it a bigger punch. So give one another a little space. You probably need space, but your parents probably do need space away from the kids to talk about adult stuff and not worry you, right? And it would be their natural instinct to keep it private, not to hide. I don't think I would have ever thought to hide something from my kids, but I wouldn't have wanted them to worry, right? So I probably wouldn't have, my dad or my husband lost his job. I wasn't worried. I just wasn't worried. We have skills. Little did I know that most of the United States doesn't pay for skills. They pay for servants. And they don't even pay, and obviously they pay for them because they don't have to pay them very well. So you need a little extra space, mainly because you cannot be getting underneath your parents' feet during this time while they're discussing so many things. And if they are worried about it to any extent, you can't be getting underneath their feet, right? So that is why talking to them about it is also, that's why I said it's a bigger punch for it, because you will have gotten your questions out of the way, which will not put you under their feet so much. Worrying, right? Then you can go to your room and do your own thing, and don't take advantage of this time to go do bad things. Go to your room, do your thing, and be good. Be helpful. Sweep the floor. Dust the furniture. Do the dishes. Pick up the house. That would be a great thing to do. We gave that advice for if you wanted to do it with your mom and to spend more time with your mom or your dad. You could do something that they're doing. But if they're worrying and spending their time on things that you can't be a part of, like worrying about their job, then look around you. I bet there are ways that you could help out, right? And then when you can't help out, don't get underneath their feet. Go do something positive and helpful by yourself. Oh, you will become so strong and healthy in your health, in your mind, in your body, in your spirit. You really, really will. Don't take that time to ruminate about what you don't have. Don't take that time to worry, because that's rumination is worry, and it never added 1 second to our lives. Worrying never adds 1 single second to our lives, and in fact could take away, right? Exactly. So, not in your room ruminating, not in your room worrying, but really thinking about something positive to do, right? Oh my goodness gracious, how strong you will become. Okay. Oh, I didn't realize that there were more questions on the same page. Um, and then the last thing I wanted to say about this is that if your parents have the tendency to be very worried about this, is if this is very worrisome for them, then they're going to get more upset and angry. They're going to be more emotional about the whole thing. They're going to get upset and angry and be more emotional about the whole thing. And so that's really why you want to be helpful and positive, because if you get under their feet and they're angry and emotional about this, they're going to get angry about you being under their feet. So your parents may, the worse this situation is, the more upset they're going to be, which is the more upset it's going to make you, right? So kind of look around and be observant. If they are really getting bothered by this and they seem to really be more emotional and angry about it, you need to like really step it up and see what you can do to help and make things pleasant around the house. That's a really, really good idea for you to do. But also, talking to them, back to talking to them, can maybe let them know how it's making you feel so that they will watch how angry and emotional they're getting about the whole thing. So just a perfect circle there about what to do in this situation. Here are some other questions that maybe you might want to think about and think about how you might answer them. My lips get chapped when it's cold. People ask about it and it makes me feel worse. Hazel from Pennsylvania. What might you say about that? I'll show you the answer there, and you could stop the screen and look at the answer if you want. And you could think of your own answer. The next one. I just moved from the country to a busy city. I haven't fit in yet. Help. That's Violet from Virginia. So here is the answer for Violet. There we go. Here's Violet right here. And so you can take a look at the answer that the highlights gave to Violet. Okay? All right, now let's get back to our book, because this is really where all of them have great messages for adults. But this is really with the compilation, so that there's a better compilation, putting them all together, that gives you a better concept of what the lessons are that the adults need to possibly learn. Dear highlights, I really want a dog, but my mom is allergic to all mammals except humans. Don't you love it? And I don't want a fish. What should I do? Amber, age 10, 2017. Okay, so this is a different one, and this, let me see if I, okay, these are three different ones. I was going to see if they were similar or not about that. So, dear Amber, we're glad you wrote us. Having an allergy like that must be difficult for your mom. Many people, I will say one thing, I usually don't interrupt. Most moms say they're allergic to all animals because they don't want a pet in the house. Many people enjoy different kinds of reptiles. We don't know how you and other family members feel about this, but it's something to consider. If you have a chance to visit a pet store, you might get some other ideas for a pet besides fish. Fish are graceful and fascinating, but we understand that you can't cuddle and get close to them as you would a dog. It may seem that you will have to wait until you are out on your own to have a pet. That may seem too long of a wait, but there are times when we all have to accept the situation for what it is. We encourage you to focus your thoughts and energy on the many things in your life that make you happy rather than on what you can't have. Not just what makes you happy, what you have. Focus on what you have, right? Focus on the things that you have. Not just I'm happy because. Sometimes we just take that happy pill and drift off to sleep. You know. Don't let your happiness depend on having a dog. You can make the most of every day with or without a pet. I think that's pretty good advice. The one thing I want to say about having a pet is this. They are great responsibility. And no matter how much you love to cuddle with your pet, every kid gets bored with their pet. They do. I think that that's true. Maybe not every kid, I'm sure, that there are, but most kids get bored with their pets, right? At least sometimes. Maybe it doesn't mean you don't play with them or walk them, but there are times where you're just like, adios, pet. Even for me, right? I was going out more often and going out to dinner and and I would rather talk to a friend. A pet doesn't talk back to me, right? And it doesn't talk with me, and I can't have conversations. And I'm a talker, you know. But I learned to talk all by myself right here. So now I really actually appreciate my dog a lot more. I didn't belong having a pet until Lucy, and I didn't get Lucy until, probably 8 or 9 years ago, right? 2015, I think it was. Yeah, so it was when I got Lucy. And so, and I didn't belong having it, even though I had other pets, I didn't belong having a pet until Lucy. It wasn't until Lucy that I really appreciated. If you think of pets like human beings, which I never did, and now I do. Now I do. I actually do. After I read Animal Farm and the concepts that I think are bordering on reality related to that Animal Farm, I do have I have raised my opinion of pets and animals tremendously. And if we look at them as any other mammal, and as we have elevated them to the level of humans, because it was human beings that we read in that book that devised the device that closed a human being up to here and had people walk by and spit on them. That was a human invention, right? So I can clearly see that a dog would never, ever, ever. And when you read about the animals and how shocked into speechlessness they are when the first animal is killed after a promise to never kill the animals, it is mortifying to them. And to think about that on that level, I've certainly raised my opinion of animals. So you don't belong having, what if you had a baby? What if you had a baby who completely needed you? Now, pets aren't like that. They are much more independent of babies. But imagine just being carefree and leaving a baby, right? Being carefree and leaving a baby. And then think about that. If it could impact an animal in the same way, what might you do differently with that pet, right? Lot to think about. I know lots of people love pets. I normally, actually, in hindsight, I wouldn't have stopped on that question, but I'm glad I did because so many people care about pets and they have pets. So I'm glad. Dear Highlights, I need some advice. Star Wars has taken over my kid sister's mind. How can I convince her that sometimes I have other things on my mind? Dear Katie, 1979, we think we know what you mean. Your sister thinks about Star Wars and talks about it all the time. Don't worry, just be patient and wait for your sister to lose her interest in Star Wars. Believe it or not, this will happen. In the meantime, maybe not. There's adult Star Wars nuts, right? In the meantime, you will just have to live with it. I don't like that advice, but I don't care about spending time on that. It's Star Wars, and I'm like Katie. I don't care about it. Dear Highlights, my mother and father divorced when I was a baby. 4 months ago, my father had a baby with his wife. Now my mother is pregnant. I feel like nobody's going to care about me anymore. P.S. What can I do? Sierra, 2015. In case you didn't know what my question was, it is, what can I do? Sierra, 2015. Dear Sierra, it may help to know that many older siblings feel this way when a baby is born in their family. Suddenly the attention shifts from being just on you to being on you and your new sibling. This isn't a bad thing. It's just an adjustment. It's just a change is all. It's just something different. It's not a bad thing. It's just something different. We promise that your parents have not forgotten about you or stopped loving you. Their love has just expanded to make room for you and your new siblings. It's surprising how much we can love. You think that your love is cut in half when you have a second baby. As a parent, you think your love is cut in half. It is not. You can love two people, two things, whatever, equally with all the love. It doesn't take away love. You just have that much love to give, which is an amazing thing. It is a replenishable resource. It's a never-ending resource, love is, right? It's not limited for this person more, that person less. It's an endless resource. It may help you to let your parents know how you are feeling. See, always the first advice, talk about it. It is important for them to know that you worry about feeling neglected. This way, they will know how to help you feel included and loved. A baby is an exciting addition to a family, but it's also one that requires a lot of work. Your parents may seem more tired now than they were before, and they may ask you to help out with the babies. We hope you will have an open mind and be willing to help when needed, or volunteer if no one asks you directly for help. Not that we hope. You need to do that. We don't hope it. Do it. You have to help. You have to help. And you have to help and do it cheerfully with a smile and like it. Otherwise, you won't love your brother or sister. And is that really what you want? Do you want to not love your brother or sister? Is that what you want? No. Then you need to help. And you need to like it. But help with the things that you like. Don't go, all right, I'll change the poopiest, stinkiest diaper and I'll enjoy it. No, you don't have to do it that way. Do the things that you enjoy, like feeding the baby, right? Or playing with the baby in a soft and nice and gentle way, right? Your parents will appreciate your willingness to lend a hand. Congratulations on being an older sister. We know you will be a great example for your siblings. Excellent answer. The only other thing that I would like to say about this is that it's not just that you're a big help. You are the one person, first and foremost, that child, your younger siblings will look up to. The first person they'll look up to for the rest of your life. You are going to be the person they look up to, which means they will almost always love you. So you need to be a good example is what you need to be. You need to know that you are like a picture that the little baby has put on the wall of someone that they want to be. You're it. Yeah, you're that person. The picture a little baby, your little brother or sister would likely put on a wall and go, I want to be just like Sierra. I want to be just like Sierra. I want to be just like my big sister, Sierra. Right? If you have a little brother, maybe it's a little bit different. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe it's a little bit different. But that doesn't mean that you can't help your little brother be a little more gentle or learn about what girls like and what they don't like. Right? So, the thing about being an older brother or sister is this. It's such an important job. It's the most important job to your younger brother or sister. It's the most important. They think more of you than they do of their mom and dad. Absolutely no doubt about it, the way they look up to you. Right? So it's a very important job. You are their protector. You are their example. So you want to be a good example. Okay? That's my advice to Sierra. And to Katie and to Amber. Here's a question. Dear Highlights, I have a stepdad. Whenever I ask him a question, he asks a question back. I don't like it. And my stepmom is always reading, and she doesn't seem to like me. Kathy, 1987. Dear Kathy, whenever stepfamilies are formed, it takes a while for everyone to get used to it and each other's different personalities and ways of doing things. We are sure that both your stepmom and your stepdad do like you and want to get along well with you. No, that's not sure. That's not sure. There are plenty of stepmoms that do not like their stepkids. Don't blow smoke up their butt. Plenty of stepdads that don't like their kids and hurt them. Plenty. They might not like you. Your stepmom, you may have gotten that right, right? Your intuition, Kathy, may be correct. Your stepmom, if she's always reading and doesn't seem to like you, that actually may be true. Do your best to accept them as they are, and we expect that they will do the same. No, don't expect that. No, they won't. No, they won't. No, they already have a step family, so something's effed up right there. And I'm not saying all families, but here, I have a stepdad and a stepmom. Something is going on there, and you don't think your stepmom likes you. Well, there are two people who picked you. Not just one, right? It wasn't like it was your dad and your stepmom had to accept you. They both had to pick you. Your instincts may be right. As you come to know each other better, you will discover that the things which used to bother you are small in comparison to the whole person. That might not be true either. I mean, if they're abusing you, that's not small. Just saying. Learning to live in a step family takes time, Kathy. If you give it your best effort, we think things will work out just fine. That's because this person who wrote that answer has their heads in a pink cloud. Their head. They probably have more than one head because they're not communicating with one another. Yeah, that I do not like that answer, really. I do like this picture though here. Step siblings, stepdad, stepmom, step siblings. Mom, dad, way back here, and me way up here. I do like the picture a lot. I don't know if you drew that, Kathy, but it's cool. It is not, it doesn't demonstrate any level of humanity at all. It doesn't demonstrate any level of integrity at all. But most step families have got some major problems. So, Kathy, what are you going to do with that information? That maybe there's no guarantee that we're born into or get put into a good family. No doubt about that. Absolutely no guarantee. I mean, as it is to be born into a family, that's random right there, right? Seems to be random in a way. Right? The luck of the draw that you were put with this family and not that family, in a way. Probably in more than just a way. So there's the luck of the draw, and then they picked you. Well, they picked you, and they're acting like they don't like you? Well, they picked you for a different reason than to like you. So your instincts, Kathy, are good. Our instincts are usually pretty good. Unless we've been under the influence of people who tell us we're wrong, like this highlights writer is saying. You're wrong. Your family, I'm sure, loves you. No, I'm not sure. I don't know. They might, and I hope and pray they do. But step families do not have a great record. They don't. They really don't have a great record with raising healthy children and healthy families, especially when they're acting like this. My stepdad, I have a stepdad, whenever I ask him a question, he asks me a question back, and I don't like it. Now that part of it, I have to say, that actually isn't bad. It's irritating, but Jesus did that. Jesus answered most questions with a question. And in good therapy, that's exactly what you do. To get the person to think on their own terms, instead of putting an answer in their head, they ask you a question and then you think on your own terms. See? That's why. So your stepdad answering a question, your question with a question, is actually demonstrating a couple things. Wisdom, as well as demonstrating he thinks you're wise enough to think it through. He is giving you a wonderful skill that Jesus Christ himself has demonstrated as an unbelievable skill to be able to keep peace, right, with the Pharisees and the Sadducees of the time that wanted to kill him. That was his tactic. So it's a good tactic. It's very wise. And let me give you an example. Let's say you went to your dad and you said, I don't think my stepmom likes me. Why doesn't she like me? Your dad could give you an answer. That's not smart now, would it be? What if your dad said the truth? And what if the truth was that your stepmom doesn't like you? I don't know what to do about it. What if he did that? What if he answered your question? Dad, stepdad, I don't think stepmom likes me and I don't know what to do. What should I do about it? And he gave you an answer. Or he came back with this. What do you want to do about it? Which one of those is the better answer? He can't say she doesn't like you. What are you going to, the better answer is what do you think you could do about it? What would you like to do about that? Okay? So, I don't know what your stepdad feels about you, but you had no complaints. I don't know what your stepmom feels about you, but there you were complaining. Your stepdad, from what you've told me, he asks a question back. It's a good idea. He might be protecting you, and he's also giving you a strategy, some real strength, a resource to use. An excellent, excellent resource that Jesus Christ himself used. Dear Highlights, my mom and dad have been separated for about a month. Now my dad wants to come back. I'm not sure I want him back. KD 1991. Dear KD, your feelings are normal. You have been on a kind of emotional roller coaster, feeling lots of ups and downs. Things probably settled down after your dad had been gone a while, and now you're afraid of what might happen when he returns. But try to accept your dad again as part of your family. It's up to your mom and dad to work things out, but your attitude is important too. Concentrate on your dad's good qualities and give him credit for wanting to come back. No matter what happens between your mom and your dad, remember that each of them loves you. All right, again, I've already said that's not a guarantee. That's no guarantee. Stop blowing smoke up kids' ass. They may not. Now, I'm not saying you should say they may not love you, but I am saying you shouldn't say that bullshit either, because you got to give kids credit for their intuition. Without a doubt, adults, this is what adults can learn, okay? Now, I don't like this advice. Other than your feelings are normal. But here, they don't give you the first and best advice. Talk to your mom. Tell your mom exactly what it was going on according to this. According to the answer, right? Which is correct. You are on an emotional roller coaster, feeling lots of ups and downs. Things probably settled down after your dad had been gone a while, and now you're afraid of what might happen when he returns. True dat. That's some truth being spoken right there. But try to accept your dad again as part of your family. No, you don't even know. You haven't even questioned why he's not part of the family. What if he's not part of the family because he was punching somebody in the face? What if he's not part of the family because he had an affair with a, degenerate? What if he's not part of the family because he was caught sexually abusing a child? Come on. This dad doesn't belong necessarily. Ask your mom, and tell your mom. And you could probably tell your mom, because this is probably true. Things have settled down since dad has been out of the house. And I don't really want all the arguing in the house. Do you? And you could find out why would she want him back. It may be financial. You got to think about it. Then what would you do? It may be because she really, really does love him. Is that true? It may be because she has no other options. It may be because he is pressuring her. They're find out what your mom thinks about it, and then you will know what side to be on. But make sure your mom knows. Not only just don't ask your mom what she thinks about it, right? Although it's not a bad thing. Tell her how you feel about it. You are on an emotional roller coaster and things have settled down since dad has been out of the house. Because that would be the normal feeling then. That would be the normal response to, the normal response would be, I'm not sure I want him back, to a father who created chaos in the house. And that father shouldn't be back in the house just to create chaos again. Find out. Does your mom want him back, and why? Dear Highlights, I live with my grandma, 2 uncles, my cousin, and my dog. My grandma has custody of me. I told my grandma that I want to live with my mom, but she told me no, and I'll never live with her. My mom visits me every day and buys me my clothing. She buys me food and everything I need. Well, my grandma doesn't buy me those things. My grandma said I'm never living with my mom. I want to live with my mom, but my grandma won't let me. What should I do? Anonymous 2016. Woo. Wow. Dear friend, you might try discussing your concern with your grandma. He already has. Stop with your discussing. He already has. Have you not heard what grandma said? She said, you will never live with your mom. Have you not heard what this anonymous person said? You could start by telling her how much you love and appreciate her. I love you, Grandma. Doesn't sound like Grandma really cares about love at all. Then you can explain how you feel. In the conversation, it may help to use I sentences rather than you sentences. For example, instead of saying, you don't let me live with mom and that's not fair, you could say, I would like to understand better why I can't live with my mom. Can we talk about it? Yeah. Why can't I live with my mom? Yeah. And don't say it in a mean way. Say, Grandma, I want to know why I can't live with my mom. She might have reasons. She might have good reasons. She might be just a selfish, you know what? Because it sounds like your mom is a loving mom if she does do all those things. But maybe she doesn't. I don't know. You didn't put your age there either, so I don't know how much you might understand about an adult situation. Your grandma may have reasons for her decision that she doesn't feel comfortable sharing with you. Try to respect this. It doesn't sound like grandma's being very respectful. It's hard to respect somebody who's not respectful. So whatever about the respect thing. For now, you may have to accept that you can see your mom but not live with her. Perhaps you can be thankful that you get to see her regularly. Make the most of your time with her. Why don't you ask your mom why you can't live with her? Why don't you ask your mom? It sounds like grandma's not going to give you the truth, but maybe your mom will. Why don't you ask your mom, why can't I live with you? We know the situation is not exactly the way you want it to be. Not at all, apparently. That's pretty observant of you. Thanks, Einstein. But life can certainly be good, even if it's not perfect. When you find yourself getting upset, it could help to take a few slow, deep breaths and slowly count to 10 in your head. As you count, think of a peaceful image, such as your favorite place. It can also help to express your feelings with writing, drawing, or other creative activities. True that. Listening to music, taking your dog for a walk, reading, or playing with friends can help make you feel better. Maybe even do something that when you see your mom the next day, you can show her how much you appreciate her, right? So write her a poem, draw her a picture, right? Journal about your mom, your feelings about your mom. You might also share your feelings with another trusted adult. Many kids find it helpful to confide in a school counselor. Part of his or her job is to listen to kids' concerns and to offer guidance about things going on at school or at home. Other people you may find comfortable talking to might include a teacher or the parent of a close friend. I believe that kids have very good intuition about what makes them feel safe. So think about a person that makes you feel safe. And that's the person that you want to turn to then, right? That's the person that you want to talk to, ask questions, tell them about your problems. Do you feel safe with that person? right? Don't be telling your stories to people that you don't trust or that you don't feel safe to, because they might use your stories to hurt you. I'll be mad. If my brother knocks over my tower of blocks, I'll be madder than mommy when she breaks something. I'll be madder than the sky in a thunderstorm. I'll be madder than a tree when it falls down. I'll be madder than flowers in a rainstorm. I'll be madder than the ocean when the waves get high. I'll be madder than a ship when it sinks. I'll be madder as mad can be, but I'll forgive him. Katie, age 6, 2000. When her brother knocks over the tower of blocks. Now, I like this. I'll tell you why I like it. And then there's a part of me that doesn't like it. She's only 6 years old and she's focusing on all of her anger. All these lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines are about how mad she is, and only one line about how she can forgive. Now, I don't think that's a good ratio. In fact, I know it's not a good ratio. We need 3 good things to every one bad thing that we have to say. So you should have 3 good things to say before you say, I'll be madder than mommy when he breaks something. Okay? So 3 good things, and then you could say that one bad thing. It's not good for you. It's not good for you to focus so much on the bad things. Katie, age 6. But I do love the fact that you did say, I'll forgive him. So that was wonderful that you even know that concept. That's good. Focus more on that. But the other thing I love about this, Katie, age 6, is your description about anger. Madder than a sky in a thunderstorm. That is what we call a simile. Anger is like, it's like, and then you describe not anger, but what it's like. That's called a simile. It's similar. It's a simile. So, I love your similes that you're using here. If I said it is a sky in a thunderstorm, that would be a metaphor. These could be thought of as metaphors or similes. You're not saying they are those things. Madder than. A tree when it falls down. Flowers in a rainstorm. The ocean when the waves get high. A ship when it sinks. That is amazing. I love that, Katie, age 6. That's somebody who has their eyeballs open and their brain wheels really turning. I love that. Those are great thoughts to have about how nature shows us its anger. I love it, Katie. That is wonderful. Where are we on time? Time for another one. Dear Highlights, my mom and grandmother don't like me to read science fiction books such as Animorphs. I try to collect them, but they won't let me buy any more. They said I won't learn anything from them. Should I quit reading Animorphs? Scott, 2000. Dear Scott, you might try to explain to your mom what you think you gain by reading these books. For example, since a lot of kids read and collect such books, many of them make new friends by talking about the books with their classmates. Perhaps you could reach a compromise in which you agree to read 1 or 2 books that are not science fiction for each Animorphs book you read. Regardless of what you and your mom decide, what is best for you, you must respect her decision. Keep in mind that there are many excellent books full of adventure that are not science fiction books. Your librarian can help you find some. That's a great piece of advice right there. Your librarian will know what you like and know exactly where a book is that would be not a science fiction book, but something you would enjoy just as well. She knows kids. She knows what bores them and what they'll like that is still good for them. That's a great piece of advice. I have nothing else to add to that. Maybe I do. Hold on just a minute. This is what I was going to say. I knew there was something else I was going to say. This is what I was used to say. I used to read not horror books, but mystery books. So in 5th grade, it was my favorite thing to read. They used to have a series called Scary Stories. And so you're probably kind of aware of something like that yourself, right? Let me show you something. I gotta put my bookmark in here and kill these stupid flea flies, whatever they are. Hold on. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I can't find them. I was going to show you. I can't believe I can't find them. I swear to gosh, they were always right there. But when I bought all the books, I moved things around, and I almost always know where my books are, and all of a sudden I don't know where some of my books are. I see. So they were scary stories and more scary stories. They were for fifth graders. It's no big deal. It's just that what the big deal is that I can't find them. That's the big deal. But I'll find them. I didn't want to go upstairs and look, so they must be upstairs. But I just can't believe I would have put them upstairs, which makes me wonder where they are. Anywho, that's all the time that we have, basically. So we're going to start the next topic. The next time we come back, I'll see if there's any other stories about family that I want to talk about from there when I come back. And otherwise, we're going to go on to school. So dear highlights, we're going to talk about problems in school. So remember, these are some great ideas that parents or adults can learn from 75 years of letters and conversations with kids. This is Dr. Annette Feravich. Thanks for joining me here in our brand new classroom, one of two brand new classrooms. The Healthy Mind, Body, Spirit classroom, where we have no BS in this classroom. In our HMBS, there is no BS in this classroom. Maybe a tiny bit. When we read some of these things, we can find some BS, can't we? Dr. Annette Feravich, I'm the teacher. Thank you so much for joining me here in the classroom.